Yeah. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and the Doc coming back here, week 14, talking about injuries, and you better believe that's probably all we're going to be talking about today, because full disclosure, I done messed up, Doc. I dropped the ball, Doc. I did. I've had a rough couple of weeks here staying healthy, and I totally forgot to tweet out early in the week about show us your teams and the mailbag. Only gave the people like a couple hours here this evening, and I just felt it wasn't right to kind of rush it in there. So we're going to take a week off of show us your teams and the mailbag. We'll pick it up next week because we got a lot of injuries to cover anyway, but that's my bad. I'm gonna own up to that one there, Doc.
I'll be honest, Jake. I haven't seen the ball dropped this embarrassingly since the butt fumble.
It's pretty bad. I mean, but at least I'm man enough to get up here in front of a camera and admit my fault in front of the world.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, it is what it is at this point. We're going to remember earlier in the week next week, because I know some of that artwork takes some time to submit, Ethan. They don't have just like an hour to stop what they're doing right this second and scribble things down for us to make fun of. I mean, I understand people do have a life out there. And like I said, we have a ton of injuries to talk about here. Once again, we got some moment of silences. We got some get out of here's. We got Dalvin Cook, who's like the bionic man right now at halftime of the game, just going crazy. I mean, a lot of things to talk about here tonight. I'm not going to mention that it's against your Steelers, but he's looking great here Thursday Night Football. But let's go ahead and start off here with the moment of silence. Ethan, who we gonna be taking a moment here for this week?
Well, you know, Jake, this time of year, the moment of silence threshold is much lower because there's just not that many regular season games left. And so we do run into a few more moment of silences than normal, but all three of these would have probably ended their seasons anyway. So Logan Thomas is the first one up here. Moment of silence for Logan Thomas. Got us back one game, was playable for an entire half, was looking good.
Yeah.
And then he just totally messed up his knee. They initially reported this as torn ACL. It's one of the rare circumstances where it was not an actual torn ACL, but multiple knee injuries. They're expected to keep him out for the rest of this season. If it's a meniscus tear, he could still opt to have surgery on it, looking at about a 2 to 4 month recovery if it's a meniscus injury. But regardless, he is done, got placed on the IR for a second time, which means your season's over.
Bummer.
Second up on the moment of silence, a guy we talked about a few times this year, Kenyan Drake. He has a high ankle sprain with a fracture. He actually had this injury back on the opposite leg in college. And so this is the second time he's dealt with this type of injury. He got rolled up on and kind of got pulled back, and it twisted his ankle all up. And now he is trying to fight for basically a rule change so that players should not be allowed to basically pull players back during tackles. I don't think that that's really going to work.
It's going to be hard.
It's hard. I think the idea is that if you have them stopped, you can't like continue to roll back on them or pull them backwards after they're stopped. I don't know. That's a hard rule to change. I don't think that it really makes much of a difference, but he is arguing that for player safety, that this should be looked at. And so maybe there is some legs to stand on because, you know, the league is really after player safety right now. Last up here, Corey Davis. I know he's not a huge name, but he did have a core muscle surgery, and he is done for the year as well. So Corey Davis is done. Elijah Moore, I guess, is going to get more opportunities. See what I did there? More opportunities. If he can stay healthy. We'll talk about him a little bit later, though.
Oh, well, dang. Sounds like we're foreshadowing in here to a future talk about some Elijah Moore. But yeah, I mean, at least Zach Wilson didn't look half bad for the first time all year last week. So if Elijah Moore can stay healthy, he could see some decent targets. All right, what about some get out of here's? Who do we already know is not going to be playing here this week?
Yeah, well, we had one last night, or I guess tonight, Adam Theilen. He had a high ankle sprain. Normally, you're looking at about 2 games missed. That's assuming that those games are on Sundays, though. So this is probably more of a 2 to 3 game missed, just because they played on Thursday night with a high ankle sprain. I think we're probably looking at about week 16 before we see Adam Thielen left. So he's not going to give you those first couple weeks in the fantasy playoffs, which is a bummer. But I guess if you still have him on a team that's deep in a playoff run, he should possibly come back before then. They didn't put him on short-term IR, so there is at least a chance that he could come back and score some points for your fantasy team.
And look how quick they rush back Dalvin. They can rush back Thielen too.
Yeah, sure.
What happens in Minnesota stays in Minnesota. Apparently.
Yeah, give him some of that go-go juice, man.
That's
Whatever
right.
they gave Dalvin Cook, like
give him a double helping
with that.
That's right. Anybody else there that's already out for the week?
Yeah, Randall Cobb, he's dealing with a core muscle strain. He's expected to miss multiple weeks, probably droppable in most leagues, but definitely not playing this week.
I hate when I hurt my core muscle. It's just one of those. It's the biggest muscle on my body, probably. Is that true or no?
I don't know that off the top of my
Okay.
head. Maybe the widest. I mean, it's not like pure muscle mass.
I got
the biggest, but
I mean, I worked out my core muscle at Olive Garden earlier. Anyway, all right, let's talk about some more injuries here this week that we're kind of still on the fence about. Let's start off with the quarterback position.
Yeah, first up, we got Joe Burrow here. He is dealing with a pinky dislocation. It is on his throwing hand, so it makes it a little bit more concerning. This dude is like tough as nails, though. He just played right through that twisted up pinky. Didn't care about it at all. It is probably more of a pain management issue heading in to this week, but I guess it's just worth knowing that he has it. He's probably going to play through it anyway because he's already done it once. Now it's relocated. He's probably playing through it again. But if you are making decisions at the quarterback spot and you have the luxury of having multiple starters that are decent, just know that Joe Burrow's hand is not at 100%.
Yep, exactly. Who else we got?
Yeah, Daniel Jones, he's been dealing with a neck injury that kept him out last week. Initially, this was reported as kind of a minor issue, some soreness, but I don't think that it's really that anymore. You don't miss games usually for soreness, and he's in a non-contact jersey, which is kind of, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't think it really matters that much for fantasy, but it is worth knowing that he's still not cleared for contact. He's not really expected back anytime soon.
And so it sounds like now that they're going to move up Mike Glennon to start instead of Jake from State Farm. Could you imagine if Glennon got a neck injury? Wow, that guy's neck is like so long. I mean, it would be all kinds of things that can go wrong up there in that neck, right?
I mean, dude, I would love to see an x-ray of that neck. Either he has huge vertebrae or he has like way too many.
He's got extra vertebrae. He's got more than we all do. Exactly. All right. What about some ball catchers, Ethan, some wide receivers?
Yeah, let's talk about Calvin Ridley first. He's been dealing with some mental health issues. I know this isn't really truly an injury, but a couple of people were asking me about him last week. One of the coaches, Arthur Smith, came out on Monday of this week and said he doesn't have really any news on Calvin Ridley. I guess that's just kind of concerning for me just because he is dealing with mental health. Some type of mental health concern, and the fact that the team doesn't seem like the team knows much about what's going on with Calvin Ridley is a concern. Like, we're hoping that he's healthy, that he's getting the help that he needs with that. But just for fantasy, I'm not really expecting us to see Calvin Ridley play football again this season. So it's hard to drop a guy like Calvin Ridley, but if you're making a playoff run and you need to drop, don't expect Calvin Ridley to come back. Yeah,
exactly. And a lot of people are in that same situation, right? They don't know if they should hold on to him or just let him go. And I look at it this way. The fact that they don't really know anything on him means that there's not a solidified plan for him to come back. So like you said, more than likely, if I had to guess, we don't see him here anymore this season either.
No. One guy that I do think we might be able to see again this season, Allen Robinson, he's been dealing with a hamstring strain. He hasn't played since week 9, but he has been getting limited sessions in this week. He says that he's ready to play. Again, with hamstrings, they're always kind of finicky. It's always really just like you're playing and then you're not playing, and then you play a little bit and then you get hurt again. And so you can't really fully trust it. I don't think that he's much more than like a wide receiver 3, but if he's playing, I guess it's just good to know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not probably playing Allen Robinson this week, but it's just worth knowing that he is coming back from this hamstring strain.
I mean, technically he ain't played since week 9, but if we're being completely honest, he ain't played since week 1.
Oh, brutal. That's true, though.
I mean, the guy hasn't done any. He's out there running around, but he's not getting any targets, so it's not happening.
I don't understand it. It's very, very odd.
Yep, exactly. All right, who's next?
Yeah, another guy, same game, Davante Adams. He's dealing with a hamstring strain as well. He was limited on Thursday. He did kind of have an ankle issue that he was dealing with leading into week 12, but still played pretty well. And then he's coming off the bye now. So I am just a little bit worried about the fact that he's dealing with something different coming out of a bye. Is this something that's related to the hamstring or related to the ankle injury that he had before? Is this like just more of a soreness issue? We don't really know. I think he's going to play because Davante Adams seems like one of those guys that's just going to play if he can. But I just worry a little bit about this getting worse if it's bothering him already.
No Davante Adams at 100%. No Randall Cobb. Could be some more MVS this week.
Yes.
Never know.
You never know.
All right. Next.
Yeah. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. So Keenan Allen tested positive for COVID on Monday. But he is vaccinated, so I guess there is still a chance that he could return. We haven't really seen much of that at all this season. Typically, when a player tests positive, even if they don't really have that many symptoms, they rarely play the week that they tested positive. Mike Williams was listed as a close contact. He did test negative, so we do expect him to come back. He's not practicing yet, but he did test negative. So it sounds like as long as he can keep testing negative, that he'll be able to come back and play this week. But it's just worth knowing that this is kind of going on just because there's not a whole lot of other pass catchers in that offense. And if you have Justin Herbert playing in a big time game and he has neither of his top two wide receivers, you should know.
Yep, that's a problem. I know I had my rankings come out here yesterday, and I had Justin Herbert drop down a few spots because of this. And everybody's like, oh, you're disrespecting Justin Herbert. I'm like, no, I just want to make sure the dude's got somebody to throw the ball to this week before I can really catapult him back up the rankings.
That's right.
Got to do it.
That's right. Let's talk about Cooper Kupp. He's dealing with a toe injury. He was limited in walkthroughs on Thursday. It's not really something I'm super worried about. They have to give them some type of designation. Again, a walkthrough injury designation doesn't really tell us a whole lot. It is kind of a newer issue for Kupp, but I don't think this is something that's going to keep him out of the game. It's just worth knowing that he has it.
Perfect.
Next up, we have, I'll just list them all out here. Kadarius, Toney, Sterling Shepard, Kenny Golladay, basically the entire Giants wide receiver core.
They've been here all year long.
Yeah, they're just padding their lead at this point for the most consecutive weeks on Ethan's injury report. At this point, I don't even really change anything about them. I just put that they're still injured.
Yep.
And that you should know that they're all still injured. They are all getting limited work in, so I guess that's a positive. But it sounds like Mike Glennon is going to start for them, so I don't think you're starting any of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I get so bummed out more than anybody about other than Kadarius Toney. I mean, I want to see this guy healthy on the field for multiple games because I think he could put up some monstrous numbers. But honestly, I don't know if we're ever going to see it. And he just seems every time he touches that football field, it's something new.
It is, and it's really frustrating. He's got a little bit of Will Fuller in him for sure.
I'm frustrated.
I'm frustrated.
Well,
everybody's frustrated.
Everybody's frustrated right now. Damn.
Yeah. Next up, we got Elijah Moore, another guy that I think is a little frustrating for people just because he's dealing with a quad strain. He hasn't practiced this week. He's looking like a game time decision, kind of trending towards doubtful. Doesn't sound like he's going to play. It is a bummer because I felt like Elijah Moore over the last month or so has really shown why he was a top, asset at the wide receiver position from this draft class. And so they were just starting to click a little bit. Him and Zach Wilson starting to make a little magic happen. It's good to see going forward long-term, but in the short term here, it sounds like he might not play. And so probably going to have to sit him.
That's disgusting. That sucks.
Yeah. You know what else sucks? Deebo Samuel's still hurt.
Deebo does not suck. The injury to his groin, to his region sucks.
Yes.
Yes.
We should clarify that. 100%. Deebo is very good, but groin strains suck. Okay. Yeah. Deebo isn't practicing yet. Doesn't sound like he's going to play with the groin strain. It's kind of one of those, it's not ready until it's ready. And it sounds like his isn't really ready at all. And so we're hoping for next week. We're hoping this doesn't drag out, but we've seen Deebo have some health issues in the past. So it is a little concerning just that we're having on these again and again and again. But when he's healthy, you have to play him.
100%.
Yeah. Just like Dalvin Cook.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Yep.
Last up for the wide receivers, we got DK Metcalf. He's dealing with an illness. He hasn't practiced yet this week, but it's really just kind of a wait and see thing when you're talking about an illness. It's not COVID, so we know that, but we don't know anything else. Like I'm not asking. I don't get to talk with DK Metcalf like I talk with you every week.
Should set that up.
Say like, hey, DK, you sound like crap. I'm going to let everyone know that you're sick. I don't get that luxury. So
maybe one day you can.
He's sick. Just know that he's sick. Keep an eye on it.
You know what makes me sick? His production as of late. Can the dude catch some more balls? Can Russ and him get on the same page? We need more balls in hands when it comes to DK Metcalf. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Don't shoot the messenger, okay?
I'm not. I'm just relaying the
what
message.
I can do, okay?
Okay, I hear you. What about some running backs? I know there's probably a ton of these guys too.
There's a ton. David Montgomery, he's dealing with shoulder, groin, glute, other stuff.
That'll happen when you carry the entire offense for weeks on end.
For weeks on end.
Yep.
He didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. It's just kind of a classic injury report. I imagine at this point in the season, we could list every single running back in the NFL with all of these things that David Montgomery's dealing with. And so he's hurting, but I'm expecting him to play through this.
Do you think the glute injury is just a butt cheek bruise?
Possibly.
I'm just wondering. I wish they would just clarify that. I can just say, hey,
you can strain your glute. It is a muscle, but it's pretty rare. I don't see a whole lot.
I don't even know how you would do that. That's a hell of a flex.
You got to overstretch it. Overstretch that glute.
Never had that happen before.
Yeah, right. I bet you haven't.
Nope.
Let's talk about your boy Joe Mixon. I guess this is Kyle's boy Joe Mixon.
Yes.
He's been playing super well for the entire season. I'll be darned. Look at what happens when you read our draft guide and Ethan tells you that this guy is still healthy, even though everyone else tells you he's injury prone. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
He's sick. He's not hurt. He's just sick. He
Everybody's sick
yet. Everybody's sick. It's flu season. It's COVID always. But this isn't COVID. This is just like he's got a stomach bug or something. I still expect him to play. Maybe not as 100% as what he has been the last few weeks, but just know that Mixon is sick. And so keep an eye on this heading into the weekend.
Perfect.
Yeah. Probably the biggest new injury, I would guess, is Tony Pollard, especially for the running backs. He's got a torn plantar fascia, which is the thick tissue that's under the arch of your foot. And so it's very thick. I'm kind of surprised that he tore it and was still able to run.
How thick is it?
Very thick.
Okay.
Not quite like, you know what? I'm not even going to use examples. It's very thick. It's a thick piece of tissue. Okay.
Thank you.
He's considered a game time decision, but with a torn plantar fascia, I don't expect him to play at all. I'd say there's probably less than a 10% chance that he plays. Zeke really hasn't looked good either, so I don't know what they're going to do.
Healthy.
He doesn't look healthy, but I guess he's going to be the guy again this week. I don't know. I don't really like this running back lineup here because I can't even think of who the third guy is.
Yeah, wouldn't have to worry about it because now that Amari Cooper should be back healthy, they got Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb finally got their trio of wide receivers. Just throw the ball 60 times this week.
That's right. This is what we want anyway. Everyone says that you should just throw the ball. So just throw the ball.
Throw it.
Just throw it. Melvin Gordon, he's dealing with hip and shoulder issues. He was limited on what?
Just let him sit. We want Javonte anyway.
Just let him sit. It's fine.
Yeah.
He was limited on Thursday, but it does kind of look like he's probably going to play. I want the team to keep riding Davante Williams. The team has not returned to any of my calls. If anyone in Headliner Nation knows the number to get a hold of the Broncos coaching staff, I'm having trouble reaching them about this. My fantasy teams are concerned that they're going to play this game with Melvin Gordon. Don't do that. Okay. So if you're watching this and you work for the Broncos, please tell the coaches to sit Melvin Gordon.
Just tell Vic Fangio to hit you up on Twitter.
Hit me up, dog. I'll tell you why you should let him sit.
Come on, Vic.
Come on, Vic. Let's talk about DeAndre Swift. He's dealing with a shoulder sprain. He didn't play last week. Hasn't been practicing. Doesn't look like he's going to play this week either. probably a game time decision for next week if we're just kind of looking out into the future. Not what you want to hear when we're heading into the fantasy playoffs, because DeAndre Swift probably got you a decent seed. Hopefully got you a 1 seed or a bye, because it doesn't sound like you're going to have him for a little while.
That sucks.
It does suck. Austin Ekeler, he is dealing with an ankle sprain. He's been limited. He's not really in any danger of missing this week, but I just kind of wanted to mention that he's banged up, just a little bit right now. If for some reason both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are out, like Austin Ekeler could probably have 16 targets. Like, that is within his range of outcomes.
That makes me happy.
It does. It should.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Next.
Darrell Henderson. He's dealing with a quad strain. Technically, he was active in week 13.
Yes.
Technically. But he didn't play at all, really. And so he's listed as limited. Now, remember, they're doing walkthrough practices so far. And so I'm not confident that this isn't McVay playing some tricks, okay? I'd say he's a game time decision, but even if he's active, can you trust him to actually play?
Plus, it's Monday Night Football he plays against the Arizona Cardinals, so that even adds another layer of in there.
If I don't have Sony Michel, I'm probably not banking on Darrell Henderson playing, and I'm looking for a backup, somebody to plug in that spot.
You just want to have somebody to plug that hole just in case.
You got to plug that hole, Jake. Your child. Mark Ingram.
You took it that way. It's a hole in your roster.
You said it that way, Jake.
Can't help it. You have an immature personality over there. I can't.
Gosh, you said it that way. Mark Ingram. He has COVID.
He's out.
Not expected to play. But in good news, Alvin Kamara, full participant in practice. Hasn't seen him in a while. We are stoked about this.
Yep.
I can only hope that he looks as good coming off his injury as Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, exactly.
Man, you love to see it.
That's
Fire
right.
him up. Last up, running backs, Elijah Mitchell. He's got a concussion and a knee sprain. He hasn't practiced yet this week. Not a good sign. He had an MRI on his knee in the middle of the week, which tells me that they're worried that maybe something structurally is wrong with that knee. And he is still technically in the concussion protocol, even though I think he got cleared during the game, but then got put back in the concussion protocol. Kind of a little bit confusing. I think there's a good chance that Mitchell is out this week. Trey Sermon's on IR. Raheem Mostert's on IR. Jeff Wilson doesn't sound like he's going to be able to play. So JaMychal Hasty is your boy.
JaMychal Hasty is the boy if there is no Elijah Mitchell. They've shown that they're committed to Mitchell when he's on the field, but if he ain't out there, they ain't going to have maybe some Kyle Juszczyk this week.
Ooh.
Not fantasy.
More like Juszczyk.
I'm not saying fantasy. You're not going to start him in fantasy football, but he could get some touches here this week, I guess. All right. Do we have any tight ends the football kind?
We have 3. First up,
do we have any tight ends the non-football kind?
We have 2. First up, we got Darren Waller.
Interesting.
He's been dealing with knee and back injuries. He hasn't practiced yet. Didn't play last week. Doesn't sound like he's going to play this week. They said it was week to week. And so that tells me you're looking at like 2, 3, 4 weeks. And if the team loses or continues to like not be in the playoff picture, we could see Darren Waller get shut down for the year. I'm not saying that it'll happen. I'm just saying it could.
Yep.
So just be aware. Zach Ertz, he's dealing with a shoulder sprain. He was limited on Thursday. Sounds like he's still going to play, but just know that he is not at 100%. Last up, we got TJ Hockenson. He's been banged up kind of throughout the year with different things. And right now he's dealing with a hand issue. So he has his hand all taped up. He hasn't practiced yet because of this hand issue. But typically when we're talking about hand injuries, if players are, they don't really miss games with hand issues unless they have surgery. And so it doesn't sound like Hockenson is going to need surgery. So I'm going to expect him to play, but it might be bandaged up a little bit more. So does that affect how he can catch balls? I don't know.
I mean, I would imagine that affects the way that you catch balls in your hands.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's like catching with oven mitts. I mean, ask Devin Funchess. That's how he played pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
Dude couldn't catch anything. All right. I was a little curious because I asked if you had any football or tight ends, the non-football kind, and you said you had a couple. That kind of has my interest piqued here a little bit. But I think what you meant is you have a couple players that you're saying that we have a chance of potentially seeing here this week.
Yeah, that's totally what I was saying, Jake.
I wish you had another option for me.
Yeah. Let's talk Chase Edmonds.
Okay.
Edmonds was designated a return from IR.
Okay.
A little surprising because I thought he was basically done.
Right.
He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Could he return this week?
Eligible to return.
Possibly. Do I expect him to? I'd still say it's probably a 30 to 40% chance that he returns this week. James Conner's been playing super well. I think they're still going to ride him, give Chase Edmonds a little bit more time to heal. So they got that 1-2 punch heading into the playoffs.
I mean, we kind of seen with Arizona over the past couple of weeks that they were smart with Kyler Murray and they rested him. They were smart with DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know why they rush back Chase Edmonds here just this week. And if he plays, I can't see it being very much.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the team is really looking long-term here with the way they're managing injuries, almost super over-conservative, but it's working out. So you can't really say that they're wrong. It's just interesting the way they've approached some of this. Another team that needs to be super conservative, or I guess a player that has been super conservative, is Julio Jones. He practiced on Wednesday, was designated to return. He's been dealing with recurring hamstring injuries all season, but it does seem like now this week is the week that they're expecting him to return to play. It's a good sign. He hasn't really done much this season, though. So the one thing that is kind of worth knowing is that A.J. Brown is still on IR. He's dealing with a chest injury from Thanksgiving week, which we didn't really talk about much, but he is on IR. He's not eligible to return until week 15, A.J. Brown, that is. So if Julio Jones is going to pop, like things are kind of lining up for this to be the week that it happens. So I'd say he's flex worthy, even though he's had a disappointing season.
Yeah, I hear that. They definitely could use the help there in Tennessee. Toney needs somebody to throw the ball to. I'm just not overly excited about Julio like I may have been in years past. All right, so we've covered the guys who were already ruled out, the guys kind of questionable here, the guys we may have a chance for. Had a couple moment of silences, and like I said at the beginning of the show, I was sick and I dropped the ball and totally forgot to tweet out about show us your teams in the mailbag until late in the week. I take full responsibility for that, and I apologize. Face to face, I apologize. Next week, Ethan is going to message me on Tuesday and remind me to tweet out show us your teams, right?
I will do my best.
Put it on your calendar.
We'll have to discuss a raise if I'm in charge of telling you stuff.
To text me?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know.
I'm expensive. Doctor time ain't cheap, Jake.
Ain't that the truth, Ethan? All right, well, hey, I think we've made it through all the injuries, but like always, we say this every single week, and Ethan said it earlier in this show. We could talk about 150 players who are on an injury report right now. If we didn't cover somebody that you have a question about, that's okay. Don't flip out. Just leave it down below in the comment section. Ask a question, and either myself or Ethan will try to take some time to get you a response back if there's something you have about a player we didn't talk about. But it's always fun to hang out here with the doc. Wish we could have had a little bit more fun, but like I said, once again, I'm stupid and forgot something. So I'll take that blame all week long here for that. But you know what? We've gotten everybody covered here with the injury show tonight. Just a reminder, the tailgate episode will be dropping, and I better believe we got some delicious food that's coming. Oh, dude. Dude, the meal that we cooked for this week, next level amazing. I had him actually cook me extra so I could have it like a day after. Also,
amazing.
It was so good. Just wait till you see what it is this evening. But hey, hopefully you guys got some information here, make some educated decisions now on your roster here this week. And hopefully we all walk away from week 14 with another victory heading into the fantasy playoffs. But for myself and Ethan, we appreciate all the support. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Hopefully you guys had a great week at work, school, whatever it is you did. And we'll talk to you later.